welcome everyone. Today we'll have a Wolcen guide for the best stats for defensive. So what are the gear stats that's great for defensive purpose and how to keep ourselves alive so we can lifesteal, we can heal, we can do damage. Because as one of my friends said, a good DPS is the one that survives, that does damage. If you have a lot of good damage, if you hit for millions, but if you don't survive, well, you're not going to have a good time because no one wants to die, right? Although you have 3 life, you really want to survive for like the S+ clear for the Untainted. This is the way to farm some legendaries and farm some of the really nice items. So let's get right into it. We're using a base account with level 78 for the online account to show you guys what's obtainable with the online account. So what are some of the really good defensive stats for Wolcen? There are actually a few. So the most common one we know is the resistance. Resistance considers everything. If you have all resistance on a particular gear, like here we have 182 all resistance on the gloves. And this contribute, with multiplier, this contribute close to 1000 resistance. And of course it has other multipliers as well, and the flat resistance. So resistance reduce all income damage by a percentage. Here we reduce income damage by 82% as physical, and also 85 and 84% for other sorts of, the magical or the spell damage. Usually you want resistance to be at least 70% or higher, because the higher it goes, the lower the percentage is. I think around 75 or 70 is okay if you're first starting in the end game, and you can go higher of course. But having high resistance enables two things. It enables a larger effective HP pool, because basically a monster that used to hit for 100k now hits for 10k, and your HP pool is like 10 times larger. And that's the idea with all defensive capacities. It increases your maximum HP pool. And you can see it. The other source of defensive capacity will be increase your HP, because high HP is, more defensive you are, the higher the maximum HP pool is. So resistance, how do you get resistance? Is that you can get on the heavy set of gears. So the best heavy gears are the helmet and also the chest. We don't have a chest to show here, but the helmet is good enough to show what you want to look for resistance. You want to look for any percentage and also flat or resistance on the heavy helmet and chest and other gears if possible. This allows you to multiply the highest source of resistance, and with this particular helmet they also have a special effect with the talent tree, which I'll show you guys after. So you notice is 198 with all resistance and 82% added. This add up to 620% or 620 flat resistance, which is even better than percent, because this is actually the fundamental factor that was so tanky. Look at the resistance, it's about 14k. I take this off, it almost got halved. It got to 9k and everything here was lowered, because this one has really good source of resistance. Just 600 made about 6000 difference, because we have lots of perks and skills that multiply resistance. So we need flat single resistance on each of the gears. Now what do I mean by the talent tree that multiply resistance? It's this one. So the talent tree that multiply resistance is in the Siege Breaker with the Salvatory Arco, which multiplies the resistance on the heavy chest of armor with your chest piece, and also having this next perk multiplies the helmet for resistance. By far those are the best ones in the late game, because if you reduce damage taken, you can heal back, you can lifesteal. If you're just regenerating HP or if you're dodging, those don't do as much. So resistance gears for this particular perk is the best one. Now that we spoke about resistance and we touch up on the effective HP, so the next part is to look for more ferocity. Ferocity means the high HP you are, the harder the damage, the more damage that's coming through, you actually have enough to withstand a few hits. Why do you want to withstand a few hits? Is because most builds can lifesteal, and we hit for close to a few millions or even hundreds of millions, and if you're lifestealing, you can get all the life back very quickly. As long as you have spells that's casting, you can get the life back. So in order to avoid being one-shotted and to have enough HP pool, I recommend having HP about 50k when you get into about around level 50, about 60k at level 60, 70k at level 70, and 80k at the level that's close to 80. So use the level and indication. So once I get to level 80, I'm looking for at least 80k HP. And that's really nice, because I won't get one-shotted, I can lifesteal, I can heal with multiple sources. And also having high toughness, it also increases my damage. So not only it's defensive but offensive. If you see our force shield build, it also increases the force shield, which increases our damage as well. After that, this is a perk I really recommend, the Die Ejector, for most builds except a force shield mage build, because force shield mage actually use shield for damage, and you don't want to lower your shield by 15% maximum. For the normal builds, if you take the Die Ejector, basically you only take 40% of damage, and that's a multiplicative factor. So if the income damage is 100k, first you reduce that by 70% by the resistance, which is down to 30k, and then this gets reduced to 40% of the 30k, which is 12k, and the next instance of damage is given on the next second, and this allows you chance to heal up and to get back to your full HP. So if you're constantly attacking, constantly life stealing, the reduced damage is very nice here. So definitely look for Time Waver and Die Ejector. And also usually people perk for this particular perk, increase maximum HP. Here I have enough maximum HP, I didn't need that. But if I'm short on 80k, I can perk for this as well. So this is optional. Now we spoke about the two common defensive perks. Sometimes in the late game, those might not be enough. So what people look for is they look for a bunch of things that adds more defensive capacities. Block chances and block efficiency used to be one, but with the nerf of only having 75 maximum block efficiency, it's actually really hard to stack it. Here we're going to go through the methods of stacking and how to become a super tank. One way to do it is to have a shield that's really high on block efficiency. Notice block efficiency is the biggest factor. It's not the block chances, because you can get that very easily with the perks, with the gems, a lot of things. It's the block efficiency of the shield that people can't get. What I'm looking for the shield is block efficiency, flat block efficiency, and also stats of percentage block efficiency. If you get those, that's perfect. Here we only got one. I'm about to craft this one into a legendary. Let's see if I can get something better. Flat resistance is okay, flat HP is okay, but I want percentage block efficiency. Why is that? Let's put this on. You can see that I'm currently sitting at 32% block efficiency to start things off, and if we have anything in my skill tree that actually increase my block efficiency, which let me try to find one. So, oh, it's not this one. Oh boy, this one here, I know this one here. So if I perk for this one, which adds 20% block efficiency, this is not the case that it adds 20% on top of my 37%, it actually adds a percentage on top of my existing one. So what that means is, notice here I am sitting on 32.3% block efficiency. The 20% will be percented on the 32%. So I will be getting 6.4% block efficiency if I perk for that perk. Now you see the importance of block efficiency, because if I started with only 15% block efficiency, the 20% will be added into only 3% additional block efficiency, which kind of is diminishing in return, and it's not very effective. So if you consider to use block as your crucial source of reduced damage, you need a really high block efficiency shield to start off with, and then you should perk for all the perks that gives you block efficiency. And you can also go for the gems that also give you block efficiency, which is about 10% I believe, so it's not a lot. Maximum people stacked up to 60-70%, and that is multiplicative with the resistance. So if you have 70% resistance and 70% block efficiency with about 70% block chances or higher, you're pretty much almost invulnerable to most damage. In order to get a good shield like this, usually they drop randomly, and Untainted do drop a few nice ones, so definitely be on the lookout for the Untainted runs, and you want to be S+ with Untainted for the best drops. Sometimes the rare ones are better than legendaries, because rare ones can be crafted further. Legendaries, well, they can be rerolled, but they can't be crafted further, so it's optional. And if you're going for the shield block consideration, you should look for gears with subtext that allows you to block even further. Here the helmet allows us to block 4% further. There's also items here like the legging here allows me to block 4% further. Those are not massive stats, but they do add up. So if you're going for block, anything that adds towards blocking will be great. Let me put this back. Now we spoke about blocking. What are the other stats that can help us, I guess, be more survivable? The other stats will definitely have to be the things that multiplies our existing stats. Having flat resistance on the piece of gear on top of the all resist is massive. Here we have 194, 285 resistance, and Once we have enough flat resistance, we'll look for gears that give us all resistance. So one of those gears can be on the rings, 40% all resistance. Notice this 40% basically is one of my perks. My perks only give 40% all resist, and some of my perks don't even give that. This one give only 20% all resist. So having one particular stat on the ring and the gears can be massive. So I get 40% all resist here, and here we get another 40% all resist. I actually took the rings for the all resist, and this multiplies my resistance even further. And you can see on the boots I'm going for triple flat resistance, movement speed and toughness. Really good for me. And yep, most of the time block chances are the last one to go for, and the block efficiency people usually go for toughness and resistance. And if you find yourself to be lacking in defensive capacities, you can also look towards in summoning golems. If you do summon just one golem, they reduce your damage by about 20 or 30% because a proportion of your damage goes to the golem. The golem itself, that's not perked for warrior or mage, will have at least 1 million or close to 1 million HP. If you perk for more added health, it's even better. So having a 1 million HP golem, he will die eventually, but you can just summon one more. The cooldown's not that bad, and it doesn't cost that much willpower. So usually I just summon 2 of them, and they reduce my damage by another 50% or even 60%. And that's another multiplier factor. And those are easy to come by if you have the skill slots for them, which are very effective. Of course, I forgot to mention that the socketing of the gems can be great here. You can socket up to 1 defensive, 3 defensive, and 2 defensive. So 6 defensive here. You can also socket 9 defensive if you roll for the defensive gems on the catalyst. So that's 9 defensive gems. You can go for maximum HP, block chances, or block efficiency, which is really good. Other than that, in order to get some good stats to keep ourselves alive, you should be looking for the globe regeneration chances, which actually drops health globes that heals us, and also look for the lifesteal. One big factor with globe drop rate is actually this perk. It says 4% globe regen, but you're actually getting much more than 4% I find, and this globes all over the map. In order to actually take care of those globes, I actually perked for the 15% pickup range for the globes. They just fly into me. When they fly into me, I get 40% more resistance. We get a bunch of life, and this is a consistent way. So sometimes when a boss stuns me or grabs me and I can't do anything, I can't lifesteal, because I have skill that's damage over time like those, they're aura skills. And aura skills are basically just AoE spells that still damage enemies while I'm flying. They actually don't do that much damage, but they damage enemies that proc a globe drop. When the globe's dropped, it's gonna pick up by me. Anywhere on the map, 15 radius will just pick up everything, and we get a lot of globes. So this is the first way to keep yourself healthy after having resistance. There's no way to, be immortal, but this really helps, because you can always be having a spell on, and you always be on full life and almost full shield most of the time. And the globe proc is actually a major source of my sustain. I'm not lifestealing that much, but the globe is really good. But of course, the traditional factor to keep yourself alive is coming from lifesteal. Here we have about 6% life leech, because this item have 5% life leech. After that, spell leech is also okay. And the biggest factor is you can actually socket items in for spell leech, you can socket in for attack leech, depending on your build. Here I'm a hybrid build, so I actually want both leech. But the globe's actually better than the leech, because globe is more consistent, I don't have to do damage, I just get healed. So I'm going for more globe this one, for the perks. But if you go for lifesteal, you should look for the 2% globe chances, and you can also look for more. For the spell leech, I'll go for the attack leech. Attack is when you spend for rage, spell is when you spend for willpower to cast a spell. There are also rings that sockets for different spell leech, and also attack leech. I recommend going for the all leech if you're not sure what damage you're going for, so you're going for the global leech. But if you know you're doing mostly of the ring damage for, like say, bleeding edge, you should go for ring damage leech for 2%. Or if you're doing a lot of spells with other Arcano, go for those type of spell leech. But those are not recommended, because some of the gems you can socket in can give you lower transfer time, it can give you other good factors, which can be great here. Here, one for all the transfer time. This is something that I want to highlight as a bonus, is that the lower transfer time on the catalyst is actually better. If you have higher transfer time, it actually delays you, so you want lower transfer time minus. Here we have minus 59%. want as low as it can be. I think it can roll up to 50%, so the lower it is, the better it is. We'll touch this on a special guide. And notice the gems are socketed not for damage, but for plus transfer time to compensate for the catalyst here. We'll have 3 sockets in for those. So this is about the stats for the defensive stats for Wolcen. If you guys like this one, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more guides and tips for those. I will look in for more builds and more balance patches to come for Wolcen. Thank you so much for watching, guys.